What is going on, New York Jet and Jets Guru fans? The Jets got a victory. Yay, they win. And everything is good again in Jets world. All the people who are complaining about the chatter of Trevor Lawrence and Sam Darnold and who's going to be the quarterback of the New York Jets going into next year. Well, guess what, guys? You don't have to worry about it anymore because the New York Jets have played themselves out of the chance to get Trevor Lawrence and got that victory that they so needed so bad to get themselves over the hump. And so, 200 yards, one touchdown, 22 for 31. That's your quarterback, man. So you better hope and you better pray that Joe Douglas and company get the right coach in here, get the right personnel, get the right scheme, get the right wide receivers to put around Sam Darnold, because this is your guy now. Unless the Jaguars somehow win a game down the line, I just don't see the Jets being in position. The Jaguars take over the first pick in the draft right now. Sam Darnold played well enough to win today. You got to give Sam Darnold credit where credit's due. Did he look great? No, he never looks great. But he played well enough to win, and he's a professional. He came out, he played well, and he won. The defense came out, and they did way better than I thought that they were going to do. You're talking about a Rams team who their secondary is one of the best in the league. The Jets were able to move the ball when they needed to. They didn't take advantage of some opportunities that almost cost them. The defense gave them some gems there in the first half. They weren't able to cash in on them. But at the end of the day, the Rams offense really struggled. Quinnen Williams, again, he just makes himself known week in and week out. He's putting the league on notice and telling you, hey, you got to look out for me in the middle. There were some plays there. He was just uncontainable whatsoever. You couldn't do anything to stop him. He looked like Aaron Donald playing out there. Nathan Shepard, playing for the injured Fatukasi, played very, very well today. You're talking about time of possession. The Jets ruled this game with that. You're talking about 34-25 in time of possession. So the Jets really controlled most of this game. The Rams were making a comeback pretty much ever since, I'd say the second quarter or so. They really started generating, especially in the second half, a turnaround there, putting 17 points up in the second half. But still, the Jets, they hung on. They didn't throw an interception. They didn't lose a fumble. I mean, what a hell of a pick by Bryce Hall. He just kind of snatched that thing out of the air. It was just absolutely amazing to see. I mean, I was just so excited. I hear some noise coming in through. Do we have a phone call?
Yeah, actually, we do have a phone call. Corey.
Oh, okay, go ahead and patch Corey in now then.
Okay, we'll get Corey in. Corey, you're on the line right now.
Hey, Just Nation, what's up? I'm third. I'm happy. We didn't go 0-16. And shout out to the birthday boy, Quinnen Williams. I don't hear nobody say anything about trade him, and he's a bust because he's been playing lights out, for a long time. He just couldn't, just get the quarterback because the quarterback's getting the ball out the hand fast. But he showed you, he got a very high ceiling, and I hope we keep him for the future.
Absolutely. I mean, Quinnen Williams, regardless of whether the Jets won this game or not, Quinnen Williams is one of those types of players that, he busted out of his rookie season. He got his diet together, lost some weight. And listen, this kid's only getting stronger. He's going to put on that man strength in the next 2 years where, I just believe that this kid has a very high ceiling. I remember a couple of games ago, one of the announcers said, people expect him to be a 10-sack guy. I don't know if he could really do that. And I was kind of like, my face scrunched up because I didn't believe in that. I believe that he can get 10 sacks a season.
Honestly, I'm a LSU fan, so SEC Nation, we always bring out bowlers, and I watch him play, and he's, anybody that starts for a Nick Saban defense, you're not just out there just to be out there. It's a lot of potential there. And you got to let players grow. Everybody's not going to come in and have an immediate impact their first season or their first snap. So it's just patience, honestly. And Sam looked good, and it's good that we finally got all the receivers. Everybody healthy. Chris Herndon actually came alive. I'm happy for him too. But yeah, hey, we have the Trevor Lawrence run. I really didn't want Trevor Lawrence because
All right, Corey, you're fading out there, Corey. I can't really hear him on the back end. Thanks for calling, Corey. I appreciate it, man. Listen, as far as not wanting Trevor Lawrence, and thank you for the call. I mean, I can't disagree with you more there. I mean, listen, Sam did everything that he needed to do to win this game. He didn't make any mistakes. There was a couple throws you're like, but nothing crazy. He didn't fumble the ball. He didn't lose the ball. You got to give him credit where credit's due. His team won today. So, but he was not great, and he hasn't shown greatness as a New York Jet. And I mean, if that's the best that you get, if that's what you hope to see each and every week, we're not going to win many games like that. This is a good game because the team played well overall. The defense gave you multiple opportunities where you should have put touchdowns on the board and you couldn't do it. You can only hope and pray that they get the appropriate weapons around them where he can maybe put some more up. But I just didn't see enough for me to still not want Trevor Lawrence. I still want Trevor Lawrence. Like, I still think he's going to be a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. I still right now cannot tell you, listen, we got to play it fair here. You got to give Sam Darnold credit where credit's due. He won this game. You got to say, hey, man, you won this game. You played well. You deserve it. But at the end of the day, you can't erase everything that you've seen this year and everything you've seen over the total of his 3 years as a quarterback because he won one game in a winless season. So I think we need to have some clarity here when talking about Sam, but he's your quarterback. It doesn't matter anymore. It's out the door. So, anything that you thought about Trevor Lawrence coming to the Jets, it's out of the window. If you think Justin Fields is coming to the Jets, he is not. And honestly, the way he's playing right now, I don't know if I'd want him anyways, but Sam Darnold is your quarterback because now with you not being able to get Lawrence, you're not going to select Fields. You might select a quarterback later on in the draft as protection, but I don't even know about that. So Sam is your guy. So with this one victory in this season, he bought himself another 3 to 4 years because this is how it is. And this is going to be a franchise changing win. Let's be honest about this because it's going to go one of two ways. It maybe go 3 ways, right? The first way is that Sam Darnold played himself into a victory that keeps his job. The Jets then bring the appropriate coaches in. They get the appropriate players. And all of a sudden, Sam starts to come out of his shell. He starts to put his past behind him. And he starts moving forward as the future quarterback as the New York Jets. The other option that you have here is that the Jets win a meaningless game late in the season with 2 games to go. Sam Darnold is exactly what you see now, even with new additions. And you start looking at, wow, we missed out here. And Trevor Lawrence goes out and kills it in Jacksonville or wherever else he goes. That would be very typical of the New York Jets and their luck, right? That would be how, oh, wow, yeah, that's a very Jets thing to happen. That's what people would say. You also have the other option that neither are good, right? It's a 50-50 proposition. Right, when you get to the pros, maybe Lawrence doesn't do well in Jacksonville. Maybe they don't set him up correctly. Maybe Sam struggles, and then in another 2 to 3 years plus, we're looking for another quarterback. We're back on the carousel wheel again. So there's a few options that can happen. The show is called Jets Guru, but it's a show name. Let's be honest, okay? Let's be grown-ups here. You can only go based on what is given to you, and you can make assumptions on that. My opinion is Sam Darnold isn't good enough, right? He has to show more for me to hand him $25 million. The problem with that now, that generational pick that you were waiting for is now out of the window. So now you have to stick with Sam Darnold, in my opinion, and they will stick with Sam Darnold. And next year, it is what it is because they're going to pick up his 5th-year option most likely unless they completely fail out again and get the number 1 pick. But then it's still not the same prospect as you would get for this year. So for some Jet fans, this is like more Jets pain. It's like you couldn't even do this for us. That's what a lot of Jet fans are saying. It is a meaningless win. Okay, let's be honest with ourselves here. For the players, it's everything because they're not associated with being a winless team, the worst team that the NFL's ever seen. They got that win now, and they could just kind of breathe a sigh of relief. For them, the ones who earn millions of dollars and they earn that paycheck, it's a super victory for them. For a guy like Adam Gase to not have his name next to that winless team, It's a win for him. Same thing with Joe Douglas and the ownership. I get that 100%. For the future of the Jets, I think it's a loss because even if you were to keep Sam Darnold in that first pick, to have that pick in your hand to trade out of and get so many picks in return, even if you go with Sam Darnold, you don't have that opportunity anymore unless the Jaguars win. And I promise you, the Jaguars are like, are you kidding me? We're not winning. We're not. I'd be surprised if you see their starters. I mean, the Jaguars are looking for something like this to get them started. Even though I think Minshew's an all right guy, I think Trevor Lawrence is going to revitalize that team and what they need, and they got to find the right head coach to pair with them, and they will. And there's going to be tons of people looking to jump on the train there. They got a running back, James Robinson, with the Jaguars, who played very well this year. So Trevor Lawrence is going to fit very well with the Jaguars. But you play to win the game, just like Juan said. You play to win the game. It's a sucky situation that the Jets had put us in this year where we had to compete and be like, man, I really want Trevor Lawrence, but I want the Jets to win. And some people will say, oh, well, you're not a real Jet fan if you rooted for them to lose. That's not true at all. We just look further ahead. Some fans just getting one win this year doesn't get you closer to a division title. It doesn't get you closer to finding a franchise quarterback, and it doesn't get you closer to, moving forward and eventually getting to the Super Bowl. This one win does not do that. But maybe it does, right? Maybe this one win allows you to keep Sam Darnold and he stays here and maybe he turns it around, right? That's a storyline. It's a storyline that's there. It could happen. But with the information that I have in front of me, that's just not something I think that's going to happen. And I think the Jets wind up staying on this carousel wheel for a few more years until they find the guy that they're looking for. But I hope he proves me wrong. I hope Sam Darnold and company goes out there and they kill it and he becomes a top 10 quarterback. I just don't see it. I see more of like what I saw from Jared Goff today. I see him. That's what I see out of Sam Darnold. But I could be wrong. But it is what it is. The Jets came out to ball today. Frank Gore came out to ball today, guys. I mean, he wanted this win. He showed leadership. He wanted this win. He made great runs. He made the run down the stretch to get the first down, to get the Rams to call their timeouts. And then he winds up getting that catch to seal the victory. And so I know everybody in Jetland in that locker room is super happy right now. They could stop talking about Trevor Lawrence for the rest of the season and the off season, and they could just get back to playing football and close out this season how they want to as players. Now, let me look at some of these comments here. Let me go through some of them. According to CBS, Jets are still 32nd. No, it goes by the strength of schedule. With the Jaguars, with them losing, the Jaguars take over that first spot. I mean, that's everything that I know, is that the Jaguars now take over the number one spot. And so there is no chance, I think, that the Jets get this unless the Jaguars win again. Ko says we beat a legit defensive team. Oh, absolutely. This is a victory. You got to earn it, but it's one victory. I mean, I can name countless games over the last 3 years where the Jets were slated to lose and they won. I mean, you just look at that Dallas game. They weren't expected to win that game, and they almost blew it in the second half of that one, but they won, right? That was probably one of Sam's best games as a Jet, but did it mean anything in the grand scheme of things? No. And so you give them credit for what they did today. And what Quinnen Williams did today, showing his dominance. Hopefully he's not hurt too bad. He's not banged up too bad. This kid, he had some bad penalties, right? I mean, during the season, 2 were warranted, 2 weren't. He could easily have 10 sacks right now or close to it. This kid is doing some big time things. I mean, I can't wait to see him next year and who they pair next to him because he looks awesome. Luvu made some good high motor plays today. Marcus May with a nice saving touchdown. It would have been a touchdown if May wasn't there. Went up, tipped the ball, and that would have been offensive pass interference in my eyes. They wouldn't have called it, but he pushed off on May. May still wound up making the play. They came out to play today, and if you look at the Jets, the one thing that you can say, whether you agree or disagree with this victory or not moving forward for the Jets in their future, they fought, right? They never gave up. This team never gave up. They never quit and threw in the towel. You may have seen them lose once teams started opening it up. Their talent got exposed, but they never gave up overall as a team. You always saw the fight. Last week, they played really bad last week, but the last few games, they've really been fighting, trying to get that victory, and it just keeps eluding them. They had some terrible losses. The Jets should really have 3 or 4 wins this year, and they kind of just blew it towards the end of games, kind of let the game slip out of their hands. But this is great to see, right? It was great to see that the Jets didn't give up, so that there's players here on this roster that are going to be around next year. And it's good to see that those players didn't give up and those players continue to fight to the end. And so, I saw one comment from a fan in here that says he's conflicted, right? Because you want the victory to the team. You don't want to be associated with the worst of the worst that there's ever been. But like we discussed, it's hard to, wrap your head around, the consolation prize. What is the consolation prize for Jet fans, right? The team gets the victory. They're not mentioned in the history books as the worst team in the league anymore, right? The coaches, the staff, the players, they all get that victory that they work hard for, that they get paid for. What do the fans get from this victory? Does this mean that we're going to win the division in the next 2 to 3 years? Does this mean that Sam Darnold automatically becomes a top 10 quarterback moving forward from here on out? Because if it's not any of those things, it's hard for me to imagine that there's a win for the fans long term. So I guess it's a wait and see approach now, right? We have to wait and see. We have to wait on a fourth year quarterback to see if he's going to be the guy. Possibly even his fifth year to see if he's the guy before we grab another guy. That's where we sit right now. So I am not that happy about the future. I'm happy that the Jets got the victory today. But in the future, I just think this does not benefit us. And again, I hope the Jets prove me wrong. I hope Sam Darnold proves everybody wrong. And he just, you wind up looking back on this and you just say, he was really young and the team wasn't very good. It wasn't coached very well. They just needed a recycle of coaching and players and, he'll be able to get on his feet. But again, I just don't know. I can't tell you today the future of the Jets because what I've seen so far tells me that it's not so good. But at the end of the day, let's look at the good side of it. The Jets do have the second pick where we sit right now, right? And that pick is still going to hold value. There's still going to be quarterbacks creeping up, right? So it's not going to be just Fields. It's going to be other quarterbacks that are going to be creeping up the charts as well. Maybe the Jets can trade down out of that pick, get multiple picks, to help build the roster out and add to what they got from Seattle. Remember, regardless, the Jets still do have 2 first-round picks. They got the late one from Seattle, and then they have the one that they currently own. And so the Jets should still be able to get 2 primetime players. Here's another benefit. If you're not picking a quarterback with the first pick, well, then you can actually get another player to help the team. So if you're not trading down and there's a player that you like at number 2, a lineman you like at number 2, a pass rusher you like at number 2, a corner, whatever it is. But regardless of, you don't draft a corner there. Like, I'm just saying, there's a player there waiting for you that you now you could draft because you no longer have to draft a quarterback because now you have Sam Darnold moving forward. And so that frees up one more draft pick in the higher rounds for you to get legit talent that can help you day one. So that's the benefit of it, right? So there's pros and cons to everything when you look at this game. And, the Jets haven't had the best of luck. It seems like we're always a day late, a dollar short. And this could be another situation of that where it's like this one win just sets your franchise back. It's going to haunt Jet fans if Trevor Lawrence plays well. It's just a fact. You could say, whatever. It's going to haunt them because if he comes out and he plays well and he kills it, the Jets are going to say, what if, man? What if we just would have won that Rams game? What if we could have just lost that Rams game? We could have had Trevor Lawrence. And I guarantee you, everyone that's looking at fans that say that and they're like, you're not a real Jet fan for thinking that. If 3 or 4 years down the line, we're still struggling and trying to find our quarterback and Trevor Lawrence is lighting it up, you're going to look like the fool. So I think everybody needs to kind of slow it down now that the Jets don't have that number 1 pick and just kind of sit there and just realize what just happened. And what just happened is Sam Darnold bought himself at least at minimum another 2 years with the New York Jets. I think at this point now, you might even be forced to re-sign him. And so it is what it is. Good for the kid. He came out to play, made minimal mistakes. He didn't do too much as far as take the team over the hump, but he did enough to win. And so you hope that maybe the Jets have a scenario like you see with Tennessee where they could get a lights out running back in the future, that they can rebuild that front, and just get an offensive line that mauls people. And then, you could feed off the play action. You could feed off the rollouts with Sam Darnold. And then hopefully you'll be able to get where you need to be, but this continues to make me think the Jets are going to be still more of a defensive team moving forward than an offensive team because, again, I just don't think Sam could push the ball down the field. You have Mims, you have Perryman, you have Crowder. You still can't do that. I think you're a game manager, and game managers can win in this league. And if you have the right team, game managers can win you playoff games, and game managers can win you a Super Bowl too, somewhat. We haven't seen it, but in recent memory, but it could happen. Usually, star quarterbacks get you to play in the big time games, and so you just got to pray, right? Yeah, just like Nicholas says, you got to pray, not just for the Jags to win. The Jags are not winning. Okay, it's over. The Jags got the number 1 pick. We got to let it go. We can't sit here and now pray for the Jets to lose. Like saying, oh, man, I really want Trevor. If the Jets lose but play well, I'm excited. That's okay. I'm all right with that. But let's not pray to have the Jags win now and have, it's just not going to happen. It's over, okay? Let it go. Trevor Lawrence is out of the door. Sam Darnold is now your quarterback moving forward. They're justified in doing that as far as I'm concerned right now because I would rather have Sam Darnold and take a chance on that, knowing that he's already played in the pros, at least you know what you have, than wasting on Fields, who was a guy you probably weren't going to pick, and he was your backup option. And so it is what it is. This is it, So the Jets get their win. They move on to play Cleveland, who's 9-4. They play the Giants tonight at 8:20. Another tough matchup, but hey, if you beat the Rams, right? If you beat the Rams, you could beat Cleveland, right? So maybe the Jets get a second win and move further down the charts. I mean, I'm not really sure. The Jaguar schedule, I mean, if you guys want to see it, we could pull it up just to discuss it really quick because I know everyone is really into that right now. So Jags schedule, we'll type that in, and we'll see what they have left. So they've got the Bears on the 27th. They're not beating the Bears. The Bears are on a roll right now. They're still in the playoff hunt. They've got a little spark now that Trubisky got reintroduced. And then they finish up with the Colts. There's no way. The Colts are fighting for position. They got 10 wins. They're a solid team. There's no way the Jags beat the Colts. There's no way the Jags beat the Bears. So, again, it's over, buddies and gals and children and everyone else out there. The Jets will be moving forward with Sam Darnold, in my opinion, at least for the next year or two, maybe longer. And so if you don't like it, it is what it is. Listen, I didn't really like Ryan Fitzpatrick all that much, right? I didn't care for the way he played. I didn't care for the mistakes that he made, some of the decisions, not scanning the field properly, just all these different things I didn't like. But he did have a year where he put up 30 touchdowns and he played well and the Jets were winning games. And, everybody was like, dude, you gotta get off the hate train. He's winning. He's giving us moments. At the end of the day, he showed his true colors, and he wasn't able to take us over the hump. But, I was excited. I was excited when we were winning those games, watching Decker catch touchdowns and Brandon Marshall. It was all exciting. It's exciting to win. So at the end of the day, if Sam comes out and the Jets are winners, I guess what does it matter, right? I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, it would be lovely to have a star quarterback. It would be lovely to have a guy who could possibly compete for MVP or throw your team back into the game. But, it just wasn't in the cards for us. And so if Sam's more of a game manager, a guy who'll throw 300 or plus yards maybe once or twice a year, if that, more like 220 to 250, again, a touchdown and an interception, 2 touchdowns and an interception. If he could keep the turnovers down and he could kind of manage the game, not make too many mistakes, if that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. We're Jet fans. If he's a Jet and they lock him in and we know for a fact that he's our quarterback, we got to support him until he's gone, right? It's the uncertainty made it a little bit more, I guess, exciting to think about the possibility of having somebody different. But now I think this kind of erases that, pushing the Jets out. So maybe we can have another discussion about Lawrence if the Jags win a game. But listen, guys, this was it, man. If you were going to get it, it was it, and it's not going to happen anymore. And so, now that the Jets do have their victory, I would like to see a little bit more out of Ty Johnson. I mean, the kid looked good in the first half catching the ball. and then they just kind of fade away from him and go back to Frank Gore. And, I just don't think this team is getting evaluated properly offensively, with the running backs and even some of the receivers. Mims and Perryman are not getting balls thrown to them that accentuate their skill set. Perryman's a down the field guy who can get a step or two. He needs the ball placed over his head down the field to run under it because he's like a track star. He picks up speed as he goes along. If you're not throwing those balls like that, he's just useless. Same thing with Denzel Mims. He's a big target receiver. You got to put the ball up for him, and the Jets just aren't able to do that. So maybe with a better offensive line, that'll get you maybe 5 to 10 more cleaner opportunities a game to make throws, and then maybe 2 to 3 or 4 of those throws each game are big time throws next year. That's because that's the difference between playing really well and not. Getting a few more opportunities here and there, right? Getting a cleaner pocket, here and there. It allows you to make plays down the field. It allows you to do things. So maybe those few opportunities with holding on to the ball, protecting the ball for Sam Darnold, you could put together better games week in and week out. And so I don't know. I mean, I guess a question could be posed. What if Sam Darnold comes out against Cleveland and New England and he stinks? Well, I still think they roll with Sam Darnold, unfortunately. So again, I don't think there's anything else. That you could do that is going to change the Jets' mind in getting another quarterback right now. I think that now with this win, they're going to go, yep, that's it. Okay, we got Sam now. We're out of Lawrence Steele. We're good. We're just going to roll with him. And I believe Joe Douglas is going to, put his career on Sam Darnold. And the only unfortunate thing, too, is that with the limited options, now if you keep Sam, do you force your head coach to keep Sam? So we talked about this before on Jets Guru. How many coaches do you now pass on you because now you are locked into Sam Darnold, right? Because all he's been talking about is Sam is the future. So there's no way that he wins this game and the Jets take a quarterback in the spot 2. That's not going to happen. You're going to look like an idiot, right? So that's not going to happen. He already made his bed. He basically set it up that if Sam Darnold won a game, he basically wins the job, which is really ridiculous. But it is what it is, right? Because you're not going to down talk your quarterback in the middle of the year. And if you're that bad and you stumble on Trevor, you take Trevor. If not, then you roll with this guy, right? And that's what's going to happen. They're going to roll with this guy. And so, it's tough. It's tough. But Co says we go offensive line, then edge rusher. Nothing is guaranteed. You want to give yourself the best opportunity. The number one gives you control, puts you in the driver's seat. Sure, yeah, that's what I was saying before. When you're sitting in the number one spot, it gives you options. Now at number 2, you're hard pressed. Are you going to stretch and get a quarterback and waste that second pick on a guy who's like second tier? The drop off between Matt Stafford and Mark Sanchez as far as skill level. Matt Stafford plays in a different organization. His career probably looks different. He puts up numbers, right? But there was a distinct drop off between Stafford and Mark Sanchez. But the Jets really needed a quarterback. And so they went and they took Mark Sanchez anyway. And it was pretty clear that, he wasn't as talented as Matt Stafford. And I think that's what you're going to have here with Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. And so as far as where do the Jets go second, I think they trade out. To be honest, I think they trade out. Just knowing Joe Douglas and how he likes to accumulate picks, he's really good at trades. Somehow the trade is going to work out in the Jets' favor. It always seems to with him for the most part. So I expect the Jets to trade out, get a nice haul, move down into the first round. They'll have 2 picks in the later first rounds. They'll probably take a corner, an offensive lineman, a pass rusher. Those would be the 3 targets. If I had to really be pressed right now, I'd probably say they probably go edge rusher and corner because I'm not sure how free agency is going to work out. Remember, the Jets still have like $70 million to play with. It doesn't mean anybody wants to come here, but it is money, so somebody's coming. So I don't know how that's going to work out because I know Joe Douglas he went about trying to fix that offensive line quick last year, right? He right out of the gate, he started bringing in guys like right away to try to, secure that offensive line. And so I think he's going to do the same. I mean, to be honest, he probably goes offensive line. If you're keeping Sam Darnold, you got to have a good offensive line. You cannot roll Sam Darnold out there next year and have him look like this. I mean, people are going to start losing. I mean, people are they're going to lose their jobs, because that means that you got to sit there and tell the owner that we still believe in Sam. And they're going to look at you and say, okay, you still believe in him? Like, yeah, he's going into his 4th year. He's got to learn a whole new playbook. This will be his 3rd playbook in 4 years. You okay with that? Yeah, we still believe in him. And if he comes out and he doesn't look good, you're going to suffer and you're going to pay for that. So if I'm Joe Douglas, I'm trying to get the best offensive line known to man that I could possibly do. If I got to overpay, I got to overpay. That's what the $70 million is there for. But I need a brick wall around Sam Darnold, and then we'll work from there, right? But unless there's that other option where somehow Adam Gase was able to keep his job too with this victory, because he's no longer a winless coach. And I mean, they did have a lot of injuries. And I mean, Joe did say that Adam is the guy moving forward. So I mean, that's a small percentage. I believe the Jets will still move on and get a new coach, but you never know, right? You never know. So it is what it is. We get our win. I'm happy for the Jet players, and I'm happy for the Jets organization and coaching staff. And, it's going to be fun tomorrow writing articles that are positive because they actually did something positive. So, I'll start getting into Quinnen, and I'll get into Sam, and I'll get into Frank Gore and some other people and do some write-ups and stuff like that, we'll move on, and we'll hopefully rebuild this team. But it is kind of a bummer. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. Like, I really, really think that Trevor Lawrence is the better talent. But again, I hope that Sam Darnold proves all of us wrong and he kills it, and he's the next Jets quarterback for the next 10 years or so. But good for them. Good for the players. They got their victory. The fans are going to have to wait a little bit longer to see long-term how this winds up playing out. But yeah, this is where we sit. So thank you guys for tuning in. Chris Herndon. Yeah, he had a couple plays in this game, so I was excited to see Herndon get loose. And we'll see you next week. We'll see you Thursday for Jets Guru. Make sure you're sharing the videos. We don't curse. We don't talk politics. It takes 2 seconds to share. We don't have a donation box right now, so the best way to help us is to please share this. That's the best thing that you could do, and we'd really appreciate that. So, hey, the Jets get into the win column. We don't have to be in the record books. Sam Darnold saves his job most likely. I don't think Adam Gase could say the same, but you never know. And you guys are amazing fans to go through this up and down roller coaster of a terrible season and still be here, still check out the Jets, still watch them play in and play out. It's a testament to how good Jet fans are. And I still disagree with Connor McGovern, and I disagree with fans that think that he was just saying that they don't give up. I think it was a bull crap comment by McGovern to say that about the fans. There's a lot of intelligent fans. I've been doing Jets Guru for 3 years now, and a lot of you guys have some great points. A lot of you guys have some great takes. And someone said, "Oh, why are you so offended?" He was just saying that, that he wanted to win. That's not what he was saying. If he wanted to say that, he would have just came out and just say, like, we don't quit. And obviously we know that. We know that they don't quit, and we know that they want them to win. But we're not all pizza couch people that just sit around and don't have any knowledge on how the game is played. It's not rocket science. Just want to break that to all the NFL players. And at the end of the day, when McGovern is playing on some other team in 2 years or next year or wherever, we're still going to be rooting for the Jets. We're going to still be spending money. And so all the Jet fans were saying is that we just think that there's a better talent out there, and long term we think it would be better. We're not saying that we're going to stop spending our hard-earned money, because we always show up to the games. If you ever been to a Jet game, those tailgates are filled up. People are filling up the stadium. They're going out there spending their money and paying for $7 Busch Lights. And so, for that comment, I just think it was foul, because we've been watching 10 years of no playoffs. So don't sit there and try to tell us fans, who we are. It's like, how about you play better and not give up 5-6 sacks a season? We'll see what happens. Next week is a whole new game now that the Jets have broken out and won this game. maybe they come out and they beat the Cleveland Browns and they come out and beat Belichick and then go into next year on a roll, and Sam can finish the season feeling good and feeling ready to go. So until then, we'll see you Thursday. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. JETS, 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 Jets. Have a good night. Goodbye.
Anybody can be beat. So how did that just feel? Feel great. Poetic justice. Anybody can be beat.
Namath back to pass on second down. Throws for the end zone. Touchdown for Vader. Here's Kenny going to the end zone. And he makes the catch. Yes! Trevettis, man. Fake to Martin. Then it's up. And it is juggled and caught by Jumbo Elliott. That's up on the handstand.
Down here on 81, Randy Moss. Yeah, Brady gonna go deep for Moss. Revis is there and picked it off. And it's brought down by Moss back at the 16-yard.
You set it down. 47.